Hello everyone, we are back with yet another video. In this video we will be talking about compounds. As in chemistry, you all might be aware that compounds can be of various different types, and the compounds then can be classified into categories for our study to, for us to make our study simpler. If we take compounds and if we classify them into ionic and covalent compounds, then the properties, the physical properties, the chemical properties will vary. In this video, we are going to talk about one of those properties, which is called as melting point. We will see that a bit later on, but then first of all, we will understand what happens in ionic compound and what happens in covalent compound. Ionic compound, for example, let us take NaCl, the table salt that we put in our food and then we eat that. NaCl is an ionic compound. Now in this NaCl, if we see, we have got a metal, that is Na, combined with a non-metal Cl. Na, as it is a metal, will donate electron and will form Na plus ion, and Cl minus will be formed because Cl is a non-metal and has got this electronegative nature. If I take one crystal of the salt, then we can see that in that crystal, 1 Na plus is surrounded by 6 Cl minus. Now you will say that in the diagram I have drawn only 4, and how am I saying 6? If we see, Na here is surrounded by 4 Cl minus. I cannot draw a 3D structure in here, so I have drawn a 2D. That means it has got 4. Now in addition to these 4, one of the Cl minus is in front of Na. You have to imagine that. And one of the Cl minus is behind Na. So 4 surrounding it, 1 in front and 1 behind. So 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 6. 1 Na plus is surrounded by 6 Cl minus ions. Now as this ionic compound and the ionic compounds, we have got various other examples as well. For example, KCl, KBr, Ki, NABr, etc, etc, KNO3. Now in this case, what happens is, one positive ion is surrounded by negative ion, and in turn those negative ions are also surrounded by positive ions. This leads to a force between them, which is called as electrostatic force of attraction. Now for example, if I take that crystal of NaCl and I start to melt it, what is this melting process? Conversion of solid into liquid. You have got the various proper definition, but I'm not going into much of details. You can look for the definitions of melting outside. If I take ionic compound and I start to heat it, what is going to happen? Ionic compounds, when they melt, they will give out as ions, and the melting point here, as I've written, it is 801 degrees Celsius. That's a high temperature. Now we're done with ionic compound. Let's move on to covalent compounds. For example, CH4, methane, ethane, propane, butane, all these are covalent compounds. Why so? Because they have got a covalent bond that is formed by sharing of electrons, and you don't see charges in covalent compounds. So atoms held together in a molecule by covalent compound. So atoms will be held together in a molecule with the help of sharing of electrons, and sharing of electrons is nothing but covalent bond formation. Now the bond or the forces that will be acting, the forces which will be acting between the molecules, I'm talking about the forces between the molecules here. In this case, it is going to be intermolecular forces. That means, for example, if I've got hexane, one molecule of hexane will be, have a connection with another molecule of hexane by intermolecular forces. If I take this a non-ionic compound, as I've written, or a covalent compound, and I start to melt it, the molecule, the non-ionic compound will, after melting, will form molecules. Now the melting point of methane, as I've written, is minus 183 degrees Celsius. So there's a high melting point difference between ionic compound and covalent compound. For us to compare 801 degrees Celsius and minus 183 degrees Celsius, there's a huge difference between the melting points. Why do we see, so the conclusion, why do we see the difference in the melting point in ionic compound and covalent compound? Because electrostatic force of attraction is far stronger than intermolecular forces of attraction. So that was for the today's video. If you like my content, do share, subscribe, watch, share it with your friends, and do comment on the topics that you want to me to make videos on. And keep watching, and if you are continuously watching, thanks for that. And yeah, God bless. Bye bye, see you in the next video.